was created in a time where it was more like a hot dog cart and popcorn cart and things. And as time has progressed, we now actually have legitimate restaurants on wheels. And so it's not uncommon that cities have to readdress their ordinances for that kind of change. So one National League of Cities came up with a kind of suggested way to do that. And we're starting with this first one, talking publicly, having kind of a town hall forum to start the dialogue and see what are the issues, people for, against, why not, where, so that you can get to implementation of pilot programs and ultimately, if it makes sense, modifying the ordinance. But this happened pretty fast. I mean, the Beebe's article was unbelievably polarizing. I guess a lot of people jumped out and said one thing or another about food trucks. We want to strike while the iron's hot here and talk about this, see if there's changes to be made.
Well, for me and my wife had thought about having a food truck of our own, and it's something where it's a low-cost startup. You have the flexibility of only working a certain time of the year. You can change your menu at a day's notice. I think with these days having the flexibility to show up on Facebook and say you're going to be at a certain location one day, move there, have that excitement, get people's attention socially is a great idea.
I'd also say that it creates this culture where it's almost like a little carnival type of thing, where it's a lot of people in one area. Everyone's socializing, running into each other, and so that's good. Also a good opportunity for local businesses, because it's usually those are the ones who are starting food trucks.
I think the event is a great idea, and I think it has a lot of support from the community. Food trucks are definitely, I think, becoming an important part of any community, and I think it can work in Rochester as long as we can create a way that functions well with the brick and mortar businesses downtown and the community and the city.
I think it promotes spontaneous interactions and different spots, and I think it provides a different environment for people to go and enjoy some food, and I think it's completely different from a restaurant, especially it adds variety. If different food trucks are going to be there at different times, it's just a more fun environment and allows for variety.
I don't know too much about it other than what I've heard through other people, and that is it's been very hard for food trucks to come in here and provide their goods to people. It seems like there's some strict rules and regulations regarding that, and I'm just here today to show my support about that issue, and hopefully they can get those rules changed so these people can be on the streets where they can sell their food to everybody.
Jason Bramer from BB's Pizzeria. For us, I think it's just a way of hopefully working together with the city. I think it should be a collaborative deal between business owners and the city to find a common area where everybody can be together. I think there's enough spots around town that could at certain times of the day be designated as a food truck stop. I think if it were something where we could be on public streets, I don't know that I'm not for being able to pull up and plug a meter. I don't think that is a viable solution. I think the designated areas potentially would be the best route to go, and I think there are enough spots throughout town that everybody would be able to find a spot to be at.
Okay. And how about from the competition side? Businesses that buy a location, do you feel like there's enough room in the market for both ideas to exist?
Well, I do, just from the fact that I also own a building, so I'm paying rent just like other brick and mortar businesses are. This is just a facet of that. I think there's enough people and enough business to go around for everybody.
I think the more choices that we have downtown, the better. I mean, we have a lot of great restaurants, so I can understand why they want to push back against it, but it's a fun thing too.
I think the city of Rochester should build a place where they can put their trucks, be unrestricted for an hour or 2 hours, maybe have a street for just the riders.
I think they should be able to find workarounds as it is. If they really wanted to be downtown, there are lots of churches and parking lots that I'm sure for a donation it would allow them to sit in a parking lot. There's within walking distance, like what BB's is doing.
I've got one more for you guys. So you've each kind of said that you like a lot of variety, you like a lot of choices. Do you feel like if these guys are downtown, that's unfair competition with downtown businesses?
Love it or leave it. Wait a minute.
Or is that fair to have that competition there?
I don't feel it's unfair, really. I think it's
Exactly. I mean, some days you're going to feel like grabbing a taco from a food truck, and the next day you want to go, and get something upscale.
I guess it doesn't impact me right now because we're not ready to start it, but it's definitely something we're thinking about and helping people realize and kind of get their attention about the matter. I think the regulation, the ordinance right now, it's black and white. It makes sense for what it was decided 4 years ago, but times have changed, and I think we just need to go in a different direction and go with the times.
Well, I think it's really exciting that we can kind of build a community where people can come and enjoy some good food and spend time with friends and family and coworkers and that kind of stuff. And I think it's kind of interesting because they've been saying they can't be directly downtown because there's conflicts with that kind of thing, but I think it's being able to have it here and test it out here. It's kind of interesting to open up that environment and see how it would work. And I understand having it not downtown because this is kind of busy and downtown's already busy enough as is. But I think that since Rochester is growing so much, it's important to really build upon that community that we have. So I think the food trucks could really help that.
I think a great middle ground would be either having some sort of parking ramp or a parking lot that these guys could kind of congregate around lunchtime or supper time, and it would be great for everybody else because everybody would know where to go.
Well, we're going to take all the information and aggregate it down together in some form. We have a website. Design Rochester can put it up on our website. Kutsky Market has basically been a huge supporter of this. They can put it on their website. And then we can send it to each of the council members. Councilman Wojcik has already said he's got some ideas, but he'd really like to see what comes out of this. Councilman Staver has said he doesn't have any ideas, but he's open to hearing suggestions. So hopefully he would be receptive to receiving this. And then I think the council in general is receptive to public opinion. And the way these things go is that this event tailors to a certain group of people who are supportive and ushers up suggestions. The public hearing process opens it up to anybody and anyone who may not have been a part of this and who feels maybe they didn't get their voice heard, and then so there's always a debate at City Council, and hopefully there's enough time to really prepare people for potential changes so that they don't just all of a sudden want to change the ordinance and people show up and say, well, I wasn't asked. And that's what so more discussion is really important.